Hello and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News. Today, 10th July 2026, equivalent to Islamic calendar, 24th Muharram 1448 after Hijrah. I am Rahama Ibrahim Dusara. The headlines. President Tinubu assures of greater prosperity, national development through reforms. Federal government to roll out Nigeria's single emergency telephone number nationwide. Defense minister raises alarm, terrorists threaten to kill Oyo pupils if troops came closer. And an international scene, Andalusia's regional leader says Spain's wildfire kills 11, heat wave hits Europe. And on sports updates, Flamingos in Togo for under-17 Women's World Qualifiers against Benin Republic. This and more will be coming to you in the bulletin. Stand by. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured that the impact of his administration reform will be felt by citizens across Nigeria, saying the policies are aimed at laying the foundation for greater prosperity and national development. Tinubu, who was represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, at the inauguration of the PBAT door-to-door movement in Abuja, said he chose the paths of courage and conviction in implementing reforms aimed at rescuing Nigeria and building a better future for the country. The president emphasized that all arms of government remain committed to supporting his administration's reform while prioritizing Nigeria's national interest and citizens' welfare. Since taking office on May 29, 2023, Tinubu's administration has implemented a series of reforms, including the removal of petrol subsidy and the unification of the foreign exchange markets, among others, as part of efforts to reposition the economy and improve the welfare of Nigerians. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met the entire military command, intelligence leadership, and top security advisors, including his special advisor on Homeland Security, Adeyinka Famadewa, to review the security situation as well as across several theaters of operations. The meeting is coming just days after troops of Operation Fansanyama, supported by the air component of the Joint Task Force Northwest, disrupted a major planned terrorist offensive in Zamfara State and Katsina State. It would be recalled that 3 Nigerian Air Force aircraft had tracked a convoy of approximately 300 heavily armed terrorists on motorcycles moving from the Sunki-Kombo axis toward Gumi and conducted precision airstrikes on the formation. Also, in a separate engagement, troops killed Alhaji Tukur, identified by the military as a notorious bandit commander and the younger brother of wanted kingpin Alhaji Shehu Bagiwaye in Dogon Kadi. In same vein, in the northeast, troops of Operation Hatlin Kai repelled a fresh assault on the Mairari military base following coordinated attacks on military formations. The Kaduna State government has reaffirmed its commitment to deepening reforms that strengthen fiscal resilience and improve service delivery. Governor Ubasani made these commitments when members of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission came paid in a courtesy visit in Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, Kaduna. He also pledged that every financial resource that is entrusted to the government will deliver measurable value for the people of Kaduna State. Other than that, Kaduna State has made significant progress in fiscal sustainability, healthcare delivery, and education in the last 3 years. The governor disclosed that his administration has demonstrated that prudent resource management, institutional reforms, and strategic investments can produce transformative outcomes. Members of the commission, led by their chairman, Muhammad Bello Shehu, have been touring states in their efforts to review Nigeria's horizontal revenue allocation formula. The federal government to engage state governments and emergency response agencies to finalize plans for the nationwide adoption of 112 as Nigeria's single emergency telephone number. The Senior Special Assistant to the President in Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Ngocha, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja. The statement followed a meeting between a delegation from the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), led by the chairman of its governing board, Idris Ibikunle Olorinimbe, and the vice president, Kashim Shettima, at the presidential villa. Stanley explained that the engagement came days after the National Economic Council (NEC) approved the adoption of 112 as the national emergency number across all levels of government and relevant agencies, as part of measures to build a unified national emergency response system. Earlier, Olorinimbe said the NCC had established about 35 emergency communication centers nationwide and called for greater support from state governments and emergency agencies to keep the facilities operational. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has cautioned the federal government that nothing must happen to presidential candidate of the Nigeria Democratic Congress (NDC) Peter Obi. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) gave the warning in a statement by his spokesperson Frank Shuaibu. Atiku stressed that the safety of every opposition leader is a constitutional obligation of the Nigerian state and a test of its democratic credentials. The warning may not be unconnected to Peter Obi's recent alarm over threats to his life in an interview ahead of the 2027 presidential election. A faction of the Arewa Consultative Forum (ACF) has cautioned banks and other financial institutions against any unauthorized dealings with the group's estimated 3.88 billion naira funds. The faction's National Publicity Secretary Tukur Muhammad Baba, in a statement, alleged that the funds are currently held at an interest rate of 8% despite offers from other financial institutions of up to 20%. The group warned that any bank or individual found to have interfered with the forum's assets without proper authorization would be held accountable through legal means. The faction also reiterated that the current National Executive Committee (NEC) and National Working Committee (NWC) remain the constitutionally recognized leadership of the ACF. It also maintained that the former chairman, Bashir Dalhatu, remains under suspension pending the outcome of investigations into allegations of misconduct. However, the rival faction, speaking through Bu Kazarma, dismissed the claims and argued that the ACF constitution permits any northerner who register with the forum to become a member. This news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television, and still to come in the news. Defense Minister raises alarm terrorists threaten to kill OU pupils if troops came closer. And on international scene, Andalusia's regional leader says Spain's wildfire kills 11 as heat wave hits Europe. And on sports updates, Flamingos in Togo for under-17 Women's World Qualifiers against Benin Republic. This and more will come to you after this break.
Imagine say television, movies, news and entertainment dey your pocket, just like that. Welcome to Free TV app. Now the #1 digital TV app for Nigeria. Free TV app get over 100 live TV channels, breaking news, sports, Nollywood movies, small pikin shows, and plenty more inside one app. No decoder wahala, no plenty setup. Just download, open, begin the watch. To get the app, just search Free TV for Google Play Store or Free TV NG for Apple App Store, or scan the QR code for your screen. Registration will take you seconds. You fit use phone number, email, WhatsApp, Google or Apple ID. OTP even dey, so make your account stay safe. For inside the app, the live TV section get over 100 licensed channels with program guide, pause, rewind and catch up. Free TV no be ordinary app. Na digital revolution. Download Free TV today.
Welcome back, and now the news continues. The kidnappers of Oyo school pupils and teachers have threatened to kill the captives if security operatives advanced on their location. Minister of Defense Christopher Musa disclosed this in a preview clip of an interview with News Central ahead of its broadcast on the NC exclusive program today, Friday. He explained that the terrorists were using the children as leverage to secure the release of their commanders in military custody. In another development, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State has disclosed that he refused to pay a 300 million naira ransom when his brothers were kidnapped in 2019, insisting that negotiating with criminals only encourage more abductions. Lawal, while speaking at the Arise News and This Day Town Hall Conference in Abuja, said he took a hard stance against the kidnappers despite the personal cost. Adding that the kidnappers eventually released his brothers after 3 months in captivity without receiving any ransom payments. The Zamfara state government has ruled out negotiation with bandits and other criminals that frequently attack citizens of the state. Governor Dauda Lawal Dare made this known at the commissioning of the Association of Zamfara State Indigents residing in Kaduna Secretariat and the distribution of food items to the less privileged among them. Standard Voice television correspondent Charity Taylor completes the reports.
The governor, who was represented by the Chief of Staff Mukhtar Mohammed Luga, said the state government will not dialogue with the criminals because the previous deals fail, which leave the government with no option than to open fire on them until they are completely wiped out of the state. Governor Dauda Lawal, who donated 5 million naira to the association, said his administration has constructed an international airport in the state in order to pave way for investors to come and invest in the state, as it was blessed with untapped abundant mineral resources and fertile land. On his part, the State Commissioner of Environment and National Resources, Abdurrahman Tumbido, commended the association for establishing the state secretariat, saying the state government under Governor Dauda Dare will fully involve the indigents in all its development programs to enhance their living conditions. Also, the association chairman Alhaji Balarabe Garba Safi appreciated that Governor Dauda Lawal Dare and other stakeholders for their support to the association, hoping that he will assist in securing a permanent office for them. He hinted that over 6,000 people from Safi local government area have relocated to Kaduna due to insecurity, hoping that the state government would double effort towards ending the menace of banditry. Charity Taylor reporting for Standard Voice Television.
A stalwart of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has knocked the federal government's handling of concerns raised by Peter Obi and the detention of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, urging authorities to uphold justice, fairness, and the rule of law. The NDC's vice presidential candidate in a statement said Obi deserved state protection after expressing fears about his safety, while El-Rufai should be granted due process and a fair trial in line with constitutional provisions. Reacting to NDC presidential candidate's recent interview with Chuji Dungo, where the former Anambra State governor expressed worries about his safety and alleged that his roles as an opposition leader had negatively affected his businesses. Kwankwaso faulted the federal government's response. Kwankwaso also argued that the delay in granting El-Rufai bail under stringent and unreasonable conditions was troubling, insisting that as an unconvicted citizen, the former governor deserved a fair and expeditious trial. A convener of the Liberty Symposium, Ahmed Tijani Ramalan, has supported the investigation of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Ramalan, in a statement in Abuja, said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive validates key resolutions adopted at the Second Liberty Symposium, where stakeholders from across the media industry warned of the growing threats posed by dominant foreign digital platforms to Nigeria's broadcasting and journalism sectors. He also welcomed the probe of major foreign technology companies, global media platforms, digital content aggregators, and generative artificial intelligence providers over allegations of anti-competitive practices and the unregulated exploitation of Nigerian media content. Ramalan described the order as a landmark intervention that demonstrates the federal government's commitment to protecting Nigeria's media ecosystem, promoting fair competition, safeguarding national digital sovereignty, and ensuring the long-term sustainability of indigenous media organizations. And an international scene, Andalusia's regional leader, Juanma Moreno, says about 11 people have died and 19 others are missing in a wildfire in southern Spain. Another local official also stated that early indications suggest 4 of the victims are British. Hundreds of people were trying to contain the fire, which Moreno says appears to have been caused by a downed power line, and that the flames then spread in a wooded area around Los Galados, Almeria. Firefighters have been battling major incidents in France, Portugal and Spain, with thousands forced to leave their homes, while the bodies of the 11 victims were found in and around the small village of Bedao, just outside Los Galados. And on sports updates, Nigeria's Flamingos has arrived in Lomé, Togo for the second leg of their 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup final round qualifying fixture against the Young Amazons of Benin Republic. Coach Akim Busari's side will hold their first training session in Lomé later today, Friday, ahead of Saturday's encounter. The Flamingos will be aiming to protect their 3-2 lead from the first leg. The winner of aggregates will qualify for the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, slated for Morocco in October. And that's all we have for today's package, but before we go, let's take a recap at the major headlines. President Tinubu assures of greater prosperity, national development through reforms. Federal government to roll out Nigeria's single emergency telephone number nationwide. Defense minister raises alarm, terrorists threaten to kill Oyo pupils if troops came closer. And on international scene, Andalusia's regional leader says Spain's wildfire kills 11, heat wave hits Europe. And on sports updates, Flamingos in Togo for Under-17 Women's World Qualifiers against Benin Republic. On behalf of the news editor, Ilya Adama Auta, and the production crew, I still remain Rahama Ibrahim Dosara. Do have a nice day and keep watching Standard Voice Television.